we've spent so many years and time and effort in this game. You get to a point where there is that fluency, like you talked about, and you don't have to stay grinding on the game and constantly playing. It opens up more doors because you do get burned out, doing the same thing. Like parsing.
Absolutely.
I don't know how you damage dealers parse all the time. I cannot stand that dummy. I know you want to talk about
Here's the thing.
parsing.
Here's the fun part because um I had a few DDs come to me and be like, Noonie, I'm not gonna parse 8 hours a day, and I tell them, and this is when meta comes in because
Right.
we're no matter how many people maybe, everyone's pretty much brainwashed or installed with a lot of meta. Um, the only reason, I mean, me playing the game for so many years, as a veteran, you start realizing the pros and cons of it,
Hmm.
and then you realize where it's when it's overrated and when it's underrated.
Right.
So for example, like if I do a personal goal, and once I meet that personal goal, I don't go over the goal or I don't go under it. It's my personal goal that makes me as a good damage dealer, because the rest is learning the mechanics,
Uh huh.
survivability, knowing the skills in my bar, and how to help others.
Uh huh.
But not everyone thinks like me. A lot of people are insecure of their DPS, which is okay. I mean, we all have our nervousness and issues. That's part of being a human being.
It is.
No one's perfect, but you know, but at the same time, um, they're like, oh, one person be like, I need to get 136k on my parse,
Right.
and they're flustered, and they're like, but I don't want to spend. I was like, well, I never told you to hit 100. That's your personal goal, but
Right.
it's a bit. You don't need it. I mean, all I need you to do is hit. I mean, if you want to hit a personal goal, okay, try 100k.
Right.
But even then, I'm not requiring you to do it. I'm just, I give them a minimum goal.
You as a leader for
The
a
rest
core
is,
leader is always a lot more flexible. You're one of the most flexible. You work with what somebody can do, which is something that's underrated and stuff. Because there's a lot of like it depends on the content. You have to like. I
oh
feel
yeah,
like the way the end gamers run it is if you really want to get the time trials and bust out the really hard achievements and things like that, you really have to have your mind focused and you got to be there to win it. So they're going to be stricter, they're going to be harder, they're going to be harsher. It's going to be a lot more toxic. Why'd you screw up and step in the AoE? You know better, right? Because you're expected to know what's going on when you're into that kind of content. When you're learning the end game content, I feel like there's a little bit more leniency. And you allow for that, which is always a really great thing because it allows other players that don't typically run the meta to be able to participate and play and learn the stuff to begin with. And that's a big thing. Because if you don't see it, you're not
it,
going to learn it. Because vet is always
yeah,
different than normal, 100%. There's mechanics like VMAL is a great example. You never see convergence in VMAL on the twins, but you'll see it in vet, and it's one of the hardest mechanics to get a group to do correctly. I've only one banged the twins once because that's how hard it is to get people to understand what they're supposed to do correctly. And it's not a hard mechanic once you understand it. But I remember struggling with it for many many pools. Especially as a healer, because it's a whole different type of ball game for the healer versus the DD.
oh,
So
oh yeah.
you know,
And with that being said, I mean, I get a lot of our teammates, but at the same time, the garage team has come a long way. I
it
mean,
has. They're
this
doing good.
team, this team, a lot of these players, the way they're performing now, I mean, yeah, there's always mistakes, and I'm always nitpicking, but they're so much better. I
Yeah.
mean, even damage wise, everyone right now, by January, people had to submit their parses,
Hmm.
or even between December and November. Um, there's no one. So the minimum requirement is 75k.
Right.
No one's hitting 75k. Everyone's hitting in over the hundreds.
Right.
I think our lowest hitter is probably 93k or 80k,
Right.
and that's just one person. I'm talking DPS wise. Like I know you might be in the 80s,
Yeah, I'm in
which
the
is fine
80s.
because yeah, but like I say, that's just extra to the pudding. You're a healer.
Right.
That's
I'm
but
there
I
to
mean
keep my times
DPS
up.
DP. I mean like full time DPSs. Our
Hmm.
lowest hitter is probably 93k.
Right. The damage is really
Uh,
strong. It has.
yeah, but everyone's over the hundreds,
Hmm.
which is, and not just parsing. I mean, in every level, people are just better. They're
Right.
they're playing better. They're performing better. I mean, there's still things that I wish they can be better in, but
Hmm.
like I said, you're never going to be fully satisfied. And at the same time, like you can't expect someone to play like you know,
No,
everyone plays different. Everyone
everybody.
has a different understanding,
Right.
you know. But I'm happy. I mean, now we're gonna get into hard mode. So,
I'm
and like I
excited.
told Shadow, I'm excited, but I'm also gonna be patient because it's not. It's gonna take some work.
You gotta be
It's not
patient.
gonna.
Yeah.
You gotta be patient. You know, we're
I think
gonna
we
go
should do
trial and
KA
error,
because
but
I've done it and I love KA.
that's actually what I was thinking about.
It's a good one
I
because they
think that
have to
would
do
be
all the
a good
ads. They have
startup.
to learn where to stand, where to be, where to go. They have to learn the mechanics. They got to learn them tiebreakers. Got to come down. You know, it's not too hard. It's not too strenuous.